On one of the Solomon Islands, there was a chief with his little tribe of natives, and he was well educated. He'd gone to school in England, and then gone back to home, to rule his little island. The Japanese had occupied it for a bit, so they were either enslaved or killed. It wasn't a good time for these natives. But the chief, he was a big guy. I guess he was really big. And he wanted to help. He even had an English accent. It was different down there. So, of course, you got a big guy in a grass skirt. He wants to help. Okay. So, just to make him feel important, make sure that you got to make friends with these guys. You don't want them on the wrong side. They gave him a helmet with an ammo belt with nothing in it. He used as a sash. He wore it as a sash. And a pair of spats, which is what they went to combat in, with dress shoes and spats originally. Dad didn't get combat boots until he was in Guadalcanal. But this chief called himself king, and he put that stuff on, and he's strutting his stuff up and down the beach. It was all his, so his native buddies could see it, and they're all cheering him and shit. So they stunk. These natives had never bathed in their entire lives, not once. They didn't know the meaning of the word. They didn't know about it. So Dad grabbed a bar of soap, took George into the ocean, and showed him how to take a bath. George thought that was absolutely nuts. That was great. He was all for it. So he got all his natives, which there were only a handful of them. There weren't that many. But they got together every morning, first thing in the morning, and they all went into the ocean and took a bath. Used soap, the whole bit. They come out, unbelievable. But King George, that was Dad's story with King George. He's a cool guy. From what I understand, he was really big. One of the nights on that island, Dad was in a foxhole, a deep foxhole, and he heard something overhead, crinkling, crumbling leaves or whatever it was. So he pointed his Tommy gun straight up, and a lizard, big-ass lizard, looked down into the hole, and then continued on his way. So Dad's going, thought it was going to be a Jap, but it was a freaking huge lizard. The natives heard about it, and they took off after it. This is a delicacy. When they came back with it, because it was a big-ass lizard, the tail was 5 feet long. This is a delicacy. Oh, the natives, they cooked that up, and some of the Americans tried it. Dad said, no way. I'm not doing that. So he stayed away from that, but a 5-foot tail on a lizard, that's a big lizard. Dad was happy that it wasn't a Jap, and he's also happy the lizard wasn't going to try and eat him. But that's a good island story, another Solomon Island story.